The world is full of places that seem to whisper secrets from another time. Some places on Earth are so mysterious, they don't just attract tourists, they spark curiosity, fuel legends, and sometimes even give you goosebumps. Today, we're diving into some of the most bizarre places with strange histories you've probably never heard of, but might just want to add to your bucket list. Number 1, Aokigahara Forest. Imagine a forest so dense and silent, even compasses can't guide you out. A place where beauty and eeriness collide. Welcome to Japan's Aokigahara Forest, also known as the infamous Suicide Forest. Aokigahara, or the Sea of Trees, stretches across the base of Mount Fuji. It's a lush, green forest, filled with twisted trees, thick roots, and lava caves formed by ancient volcanic eruptions. At first glance, it looks like a serene escape into nature, but it hides a chilling reputation. This forest is one of the strangest and most haunting places on Earth. While it's breathtakingly beautiful, it's equally infamous as one of the world's most notorious suicide destinations. That bizarre duality, peaceful yet terrifying, is what makes it so captivating and unsettling at the same time. Let's talk history, because Aokigahara's dark past didn't start recently. Ancient times, the Ubasut myth. Some stories trace the forest's reputation back to the practice of Ubasut, where elderly or sick family members were supposedly left in remote places to die when resources were scarce. While historians debate how often this actually happened, the legend gave Aokigahara an early association with death. The forest's reputation grew darker in modern times. In 1960, Saicho Matsumoto's novel, Kurwa Jukai, The Black Sea of Trees, featured a couple who ended their lives in Aokigahara. This story embedded the forest into Japanese pop culture as a place of suicide. By the 1970s, people began associating the forest with real-life suicides. Sadly, the numbers grew so much that authorities started placing signs at entrances with messages like, "Your life is a precious gift," and "Please reconsider." Today, patrols regularly search for those in need of help. So, while the natural beauty of Aokigahara is undeniable, its history has turned it into one of the eeriest forests in the world, a place where myth, literature, and tragic reality intertwine. Japanese folklore adds another layer. It's believed that Eerie, restless spirits of those who died tragically, haunt the forest, luring people deeper inside. Some hikers even tie ribbons or strings to trees so they can find their way back, a practice linked to both safety and superstition. Number 2, Nazca Lines. The Nazca Lines are a series of enormous geoglyphs etched into the desert sands of southern Peru. They cover an area of nearly 1,000 square kilometers, with figures ranging from straight lines stretching for kilometers to giant shapes of animals like monkeys, hummingbirds, and even what some people call an astronaut. These lines weren't visible from ground level. They were designed so large that they can only be fully appreciated from above. That's what makes them bizarre. How did an ancient civilization, without airplanes or drones, create something that can only be seen properly from the sky? The Nazca civilization created these lines sometime between 500 BCE and 500 CE. But why? The astronomical calendar theory, Maria Reich's work. First up, the astronomical calendar theory. A German mathematician, Maria Reich, actually dedicated 50 years of her life studying the Nazca lines. Imagine that, half a century. She believed the lines weren't just random drawings, but a kind of giant celestial calendar. For example, the spider geoglyph could represent the constellation Orion, and the hummingbird. She thought it symbolized the sun during the solstice. According to her, the lines helped the Nazca track the seasons for farming. Another theory suggests the lines had more of a spiritual purpose. Instead of being an ancient calendar, they might have been ceremonial pathways. Picture this, people walking along these giant lines during rituals, worshipping gods of water and fertility. Now here's an interesting one, the water cult theory. Some researchers noticed that certain lines point directly to underground water sources or aquifers. That can't be a coincidence, right? So the idea is that the geoglyphs were part of water rituals, offerings to the gods to keep the wells flowing and the crops alive. Lastly, the alien theory. This one was popularized by Erich von Däniken in his famous book Chariots of the Gods. Back in the 1960s, he suggested that the Nazca lines were actually landing strips for alien spacecraft or signals to extraterrestrials. Number 3, Great Blue Hole. Picture this, an almost perfectly circular, deep blue sinkhole in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, surrounded by turquoise waters and coral reefs. That's the Great Blue Hole of Belize, one of the most famous diving spots on Earth. It's bizarre because it looks so unnatural, like a giant eye staring back from the ocean. And its history goes back to the Ice Age, making it not just beautiful but also mysterious. The Great Blue Hole is a diver's paradise. You can scuba dive down into its depths, exploring massive stalactites, underwater caves, and even spot sharks, like Caribbean reef sharks and hammerheads. The Great Blue Hole was formed during the last Ice Age, over 14,000 years ago. Back then, sea levels were much lower, and the area we now see underwater was actually dry land with massive limestone caves. Over thousands of years, as the climate warmed and glaciers melted, sea levels rose, flooding these caves. The roofs of some caves collapsed, leaving behind this massive sinkhole. What's even more fascinating is that deep inside the hole, divers have found giant stalactites, some over 40 feet long, that could only have formed in dry conditions. This proves the area was once above water before being swallowed by the sea. Locals sometimes call it the gateway to the underworld. There are old tales that it's bottomless, or that strange sea creatures live within its depths. Number 4, Gunkanjima Island. Off the coast of Nagasaki lies Gunkanjima, which literally means Battleship Island, because from a distance, its silhouette looks like a giant warship. But instead of cannons and sailors, this island once held thousands of coal miners and their families, until it was suddenly abandoned. This tiny island, less than 1 square kilometer, was once the most densely populated place on Earth. But today, it's a ghost town, filled with crumbling high-rise apartments, empty schools, and decaying stairways leading to nowhere. It looks like a set from a dystopian movie. The story of Gunkanjima begins in 1890, when Mitsubishi bought the island to mine coal from undersea tunnels. Japan was rapidly industrializing, and coal was the fuel powering its navy and factories. By the early 20th century, workers and their families started moving in, and the island grew into a self-contained mini-city. Because space was limited, Japan built high-rise concrete apartments, making it one of the first places in Asia to see such modern urban design. Residents lived crammed together in tiny rooms, typhoons often battered the island, and mining coal deep under the sea was dangerous work. During World War II, Gunkanjima's history took a dark turn. The mines used forced laborers from Korea and China, many of whom died under harsh conditions. This part of its past remains controversial today. In the 1960s, Japan shifted from coal to petroleum, and the mines lost their value. By 1974, Mitsubishi officially closed operations, and the island was evacuated almost overnight. Families left their homes, belongings, and memories behind, turning it into the ghost island we see today. For decades, it was off-limits, slowly being swallowed by nature and decay. But in 2009, it reopened to tourists, and in 2015, it was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its role in Japan's industrial history. Gunkanjima isn't just bizarre, it's like stepping into a time capsule of Japan. Number 5, Kalmanskap. Kalmanskap is an abandoned mining town in the Namib Desert of southern Namibia. Once a thriving, wealthy settlement, today it's a surreal ghost town, half buried in sand. Its empty homes and buildings look like they've been frozen in time, slowly swallowed by the desert winds. This place is bizarre because it's both haunting and beautiful. It's not every day you see grand old German-style houses filled waist-deep with desert sand. It's like nature is reclaiming its territory, but in the most cinematic way possible. Here's where it gets fascinating. Back in 1908, a railway worker named Zacharias Luala found a shiny stone while working near the tracks. He showed it to his supervisor, and it turned out to be a diamond. That discovery sparked a diamond rush, and the German colonial government quickly declared the area a Sperrgebiet, or forbidden zone, to control mining. Kalmanskap became the center of this diamond frenzy. Within a few years, what was once empty desert turned into a booming town. German settlers built lavish houses, a hospital, a ballroom, a casino, a school, and even Africa's first X-ray machine. At its peak, the town produced about 12% of the world's diamonds. But fortunes don't last forever. After World War I, richer diamond fields were found further south. By the 1950s, Kalmanskap was abandoned, and the desert began reclaiming it, grain by grain of sand. Some locals say the spirits of miners still linger here, wandering the ghostly streets at night. There are also whispers of hidden diamonds buried deep in the sand, waiting for the desert to reveal them again. Number 6, the Svalbard Seed Vault. Imagine a giant freezer at the edge of the Arctic, holding the key to humanity's survival. Welcome to the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, also known as the Doomsday Vault. Located deep inside a mountain on the remote Svalbard archipelago in Norway, just 1,300 kilometers from the North Pole, the Svalbard Seed Vault is basically a global backup drive, but instead of data, it stores seeds. Millions of them. From every corner of the world. The idea of a seed vault goes back to the 1980s when scientists realized that wars, natural disasters, and even modernization were wiping out traditional crops. So, in the 1980s, global discussions began about creating a backup for the world's seeds, a place so secure and remote that no war, earthquake, or political instability could touch it. After decades of planning, in 2008, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault officially opened. It was built 120 meters deep into a sandstone mountain on the Norwegian island of Spitsbergen, inside the Svalbard archipelago, just 1,300 kilometers from the North Pole. Since then, countries from all over the world have sent duplicates of their most important seeds. Think of it like a bank vault for the world's food supply. Number 7, Gelb, also known as Rikhat structure. Deep in the middle of the Sahara Desert lies something so massive and mysterious, astronauts first spotted it from space. Known as the Eye of the Sahara, the Rikhat structure is a natural wonder with a history as strange as its appearance. The Rikhat structure, also called the Eye of the Sahara, is a giant circular formation in Mauritania, West Africa. From above, it looks like a giant bullseye, 40 kilometers wide, etched into the desert. To the naked eye on the ground, you might just see rocky ridges. This is not just a tourist spot, it's a mystery that baffled geologists for decades. Some thought it was a meteorite crater, others believed it was an ancient city, and some even tied it to the legendary lost city of Atlantis. Here's the wild part, no one actually knew this place existed until astronauts spotted it from space. For centuries, people crossed the Sahara Desert, walked right through it, and never realized what they were standing in the middle of. But from above, it's impossible to miss. It's a giant circular formation, almost 40 kilometers across, like a massive bullseye carved into the desert. Now, when scientists first saw it, the obvious guess was, this must be a meteorite crater. But then geologists studied the rocks and found, no impact evidence, no melted stone, no shocked quartz. If it's not from space, then what made it? Well, after years of research, scientists discovered it's actually a geological dome. Here's what happened. Millions of years ago, magma from deep inside the earth pushed upward, lifting layers of rock like a balloon. Then, over time, wind and rain eroded it down. The harder rocks formed ridges, the softer ones wore away, leaving behind these perfectly concentric circles, like ripples frozen in stone. And here's the kicker, the rocks exposed here are hundreds of millions of years old. It's basically a giant open book of Earth's history, layer after layer, visible from space. So, the Rikhat structure isn't just a place, it's a puzzle. It's part geology, part history, part myth, and part mystery. And that's why it's often called one of the strangest places on Earth. So, what do you think? Would you want to visit these bizarre places with strange histories, or would you rather admire them from the safety of your screen? Let me know in the comments below which one creeped you out the most. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mysterious adventures.